If you clicked on this video, you probably love fashion like I do. You love to experiment, get creative, and express yourself through your style. But what if that innocent hobby was really part of a giant multi-billion-dollar industry, whose focus is to maximize profit at the cost of everything else? Hi, my name is Mary, and today we're going to talk about why I quit fast fashion and why I'm never going back. So, like most people, I used to shop fast fashion without a second thought. So when did all of this change? Let's rewind back to 2022. Because that year completely changed how I look at fashion, and consumption as a whole. Back then, I was living my best life, having started a new job recently and traveled around Europe during the summer. But in September of 2022, my now ex-partner got diagnosed with a chronic illness, and we had to spend a lot of time apart while he was at the hospital. So I ended up spending more of my days browsing content, YouTube in particular, and I started to follow some interesting creators who sparked my interest in fashion. Well, actually, that was a lie, because my interest in fashion started way earlier than 2022. Back when I was a little girl, I loved to design clothes and outfits. At the time, I didn't know it was called fashion, but that didn't matter. I had the time of my life until at some point I learned that being interested in fashion was considered girly. And being girly was totally uncool, apparently. So I did what many other girls have done. I renounced the color pink and everything deemed girly and focused more on my other interests instead. But even in my I'm not like other girls phase, I never stopped experimenting with my style. But I found two things especially challenging. Constantly trying to balance what I thought looked good with current trends, and trend cycles making it hard for me to discover what I even liked in the first place. And that brings us back to 2022 and me having to spend more time alone. During that time, I was also recovering from burnout and had gone through some quite extensive therapy. And I learned that apparently I thought way more about people's opinion of me than I had realized. So I worked hard during said therapy to break free from those thoughts. One part of this I hadn't addressed yet though was my interest in fashion and everything girl-coded. So I decided that this was a good time to rediscover that interest, and in that way get to know myself better and engage in a hobby that I loved while having to spend all of that time by myself. So how does fast fashion fit into all of this? And why have I become so decisive about not wanting any part of it anymore? Well, when I started to re-explore my interest in fashion in 2022, I quickly learned that according to social media, being interested in fashion meant that you had to consume said fashion. And consume a lot of it. Whether it was to build an entirely new capsule wardrobe, or just to show that you were up to speed with current trends, the message was clear. Buy this now, wear it until whatever's new on the market becomes trendy instead, and then buy that. And then repeat the cycle. So there I was, back at square one again, too wrapped up trying to follow every trend to discover what I actually liked when it came to fashion and style. It seemed unavoidable, and it came to a point where I started to ask myself, is there even another way to engage in fashion at this point? But that's where the YouTube creators I mentioned earlier come in. They were primarily focused on secondhand fashion, and using the clothes you already own, a concept that is known as slow fashion. And I think I know why the algorithm fed me content like this. Like I said, 2022 had been a pretty significant year for me in many ways. And it was also the year that I took my political engagement to the next level, by actually engaging in my local political Green Party. Environmental and social issues had always mattered to me, but 2022 was the year when I finally decided to act on it. Which my social media algorithm apparently noticed. Yikes. But in the end, I'm grateful, because by discovering those creators, I discovered something amazing. That an interest in fashion doesn't have to be centered around trends or overconsumption. And you might be wondering why I'm so focused on the consumption of clothes in this video. How much harm can another top from Zara really do? It's just one item, right? And I think that one question deserves two answers. The fashion industry emits more greenhouse gas than the flight and maritime industry do combined. It's also the third biggest industry when it comes to overall negative environmental impact. And number two, one person can't change the entire fashion industry. I know that. But the average Swedish person buys 25 new clothing items every year. If you would limit that to every person buying only 5 items a year, we've cut the consumption of new clothes by 80%. And that is a big difference. We, as individual consumers, can't force big companies to take responsibility for their actions. But we can be responsible about when, where, and how we are consuming. And learning that honestly made it impossible for me to continue shopping the way I had before. So what did I do after learning this? Well, slowly but surely, I started to look into secondhand shopping more. And you know what makes it so much easier? Following people on social media who share your goals and beliefs. People who can inspire you without promoting the latest trending jeans from H&M, and show you alternative ways to engage in fashion instead. By following these creators, I got so many helpful tips on where to start my secondhand journey. And it made me feel a lot less lonely while experimenting with my style in a world that continuously told me that what I liked wasn't considered fashion. And making the switch from fast fashion to secondhand can seem daunting at first. The selection of clothes isn't nearly as curated as it is when you walk into a fast fashion store. But you know what? That's the beauty of it. Stepping into a secondhand store and allowing yourself to feel which items you are naturally drawn to is what reignited both my interest in fashion and my sense of style. My style. Not what's trending at the time, but my actual, authentic, personal style. And I'm sure it can do the same for you too. And that's why I want this channel to be a safe space for you. Whether you've been told that fashion isn't a legitimate interest, which I could make an entirely separate video about, that your style isn't stylish or considered fashionable, or you want to make the switch from fast fashion buyer to secondhand shopper, I want you to feel like this is a good place to start. I've been buying secondhand almost exclusively since 2023. I've been buying almost exclusively secondhand since 2023, and it's by far the best decision I've made in terms of finding my style and finding a community that I really resonate with and can be myself around. And isn't that what fashion really is all about? Expressing who we are and having fun together while we're doing it. Alright, so I hope you liked this little story time today, and if you did, you should definitely hit the like and subscribe button so you don't miss any future videos like this. And if you want even more inspiration about things that you don't have to buy anymore in 2026, I've actually just made a video about that, and you can watch it here. So that's it for this time. Thank you guys so much for watching. Take care, and I'll see you soon.